Hi all, I thought I could do a new Quora series. Quora is a question and answer site I've got into in the last few weeks, and the chess section is really quite good, I would say, and I've really enjoyed participating in the Quora chess section. One of the more interesting questions was, in chess, what is the most useful middle game theory based on its merits? A great question there, and I think this could be a nice new series on the channel. I know a lot of my videos are live commentary, hash 6050, live commentary, whatever. But yeah, to answer chess questions is quite interesting. A break from the usual. So I try to just basically say four very useful middle game theories for those particularly under 2200. To me, would be like weakness of the last move, and weakness of the last move in terms of the position. This to me is a very useful theory, which I got really from, initially I got it from Maurice Ashley, The Secret of Chess. I'm not going to play the video here, I'm just encouraging you to find it on YouTube. So that was a fantastic video, I thought, which really introduced to me that notion that, you know, a lot of our answers on the chessboard are actually based on the opponent's last move. As a simple example, just on the recent game on the channel, featured from Magnus Carlsen just earlier today, in a blitz game, knight e7 was played, and we see that that's got it's neglecting f6, and the strongest move, you know, technically, even from an engine point of view, if we check this from an engine point of view, it becomes knight f6. So it's basically the logic of moves. Sometimes they strengthen certain squares and weaken others. Before that, it's clear that f6 is covered. So sometimes just the last move of the opponent, and they might have spent ages on it, and they don't look at the very last consequence of their move. So this was actually leading to an advantage in the game we mentioned earlier, with white now having the big threat of bishop h6, and knight d5 cannot go back because of rook g5. Now the damage has been done, so it was difficult to tackle that. And rook takes e6 now is another kind of weakness of the last move, because that's neglecting e6. And funny enough, that becomes, even from an engine point of view, the strongest move. So it's almost as if a bit of magic is happening here with weakness of the last move. An engine might be looking at millions of positions, and it arrives at something which is essentially a common sense observation from weakness of the last move. But I like to extend that, let's go back to the question view here, to weakness of the last move in terms of the position as well. It's not just sometimes the squares a particular piece is defending or attacking. Any move is also connecting or interrupting things. So the queen moving here is actually opening up this rank, or, you know, a pawn move is opening up this diagonal. So looking more broadly at the position, that's why I've said as well, it's not just weakness to the last move, it's more broadly of the position as well. And you get a whole branch of tactics based on opening up lines, you know, connections, interruption style tactics. Now loose pieces, let me paste a game to demonstrate loose pieces. They're an example basically of a tactical liability. In the very interesting game, Mark Christiansen was I commentated on recently a World Championship game on the ICC, but one of his classic games against Anatoly Karpov went like this. Let me show you. Pardon me. So Christiansen against Karpov went like this. So Larry Christiansen playing white, and Karpov created actually one potentially loose piece here, but it became a total disaster when he played this. Can you see Larry Christiansen's move in this position? I hope you can spot it. It's just my so we can tell from sometimes loose pieces imply to us what to look for as well. So again, it's another kind of magic trick in a way. We're not having to analyze millions of things. Sometimes common sense just visually dictates to us the strongest move, and the engine will agree that the strongest move is queen d1. So sometimes loose pieces dictate to us, give us a very big clue of what the strongest move is without any calculation really needed. So that's why I put that as number 2. because these I consider really useful so far. They're like almost like magic tricks, because they're using our strengths as human beings. We can attach, you know, a visual importance to the weakness of the last move or the last move position. We can attach a visual importance to seemingly, you know, elements of the position which are tactical liabilities. It might not just be a loose piece, it might be a piece which is nearly trapped, it might be a piece which is overloaded. So they can help dictate sometimes the absolute best move in a position. It doesn't matter if it's a bullet game, a blitz game, a correspondence game, you know, it doesn't matter what time limit. These kind of heuristics, they work. This is the strongest move in the position. It doesn't matter what sort of game it is. So if you can apply this stuff even in bullet games, you can see that the accuracy of your game is going to go up. You know, if you can spot moves like this instantly, Queen D1, then the accuracy of your game is going to go up. So let's go back to that question view. So loose pieces, that's why I put that up there. And I said, you know, the identification of tactical liabilities generally to focus, you know, the calculation. To take as a mistake. Now this is actually inspired from a video on YouTube, which I'm not going to play here, but I urge you to check it out, by Grandmaster Igor Smirnov, who I've done a course recently, Crushing the King course, and I consider his videos very, very instructive indeed. And so I urge you to check out Smirnov's To Take Is a Mistake video to find out more about that. Forcing move calculations as a priority is another great one. So here, by the way, is you look out for this video here by Smirnov. Now, forcing move calculations, these two are also kind of linked as well, because sometimes we are tempted to treat our chess games increasingly as though they're puzzles. We've done before, and often there's huge rewards. You can often transition the game into a totally winning position just by looking at forcing moves. And you'll know for a long time I put an emphasis on the docking virtual computer in the head, not actually using a computer. For my blitz games, the docking computer, when I tried to put an emphasis on forcing move calculations, I want a lot of blitz games of that. But sometimes, you know, you can be too forceful. So these two are actually linked. When you sometimes in general, being too forceful, and an instance of that is taking something, you are more in control for that moment, but you might have given the opponent a small advantage. And I talk about that here, basically as a consequence of many players wanting to calculate and play forcing moves. There's a downside creeping in of literally handing over small advantages to the opponent by being too forceful. But check out Smirnov's video about that. I really feel he demonstrates that. So forcing moves as high priority, but the two are linked. So this is often a big thing for concrete calculation, to check out the forcing moves. So these are the 4 theories I put, which I feel are really, really useful based on their merits. Let me know if you like this new Quora series. I hope you do. It's a bit of a different spice to the channel maybe, and this flip view I can sometimes demonstrate with examples going into my flip view for a board sometimes as well. Okay, hope you enjoyed that. Comments, questions, likes, shares appreciated. Thanks so much.